Before we begin, I would like to invite our listeners to participate in an upcoming workshop designed to help you understand yourself by making a deep connection to your past and future lives. The workshop is called Your Past is Present, Dowsing Your Connection to Other Lifetimes. The workshop will be conducted over 2 days on October 1st and 2nd over Zoom, and each student will receive newly designed dowsing charts and protocols that will allow you to make an emotional and experiential connection to your other lifetimes. For more information, please visit vitalbioenergetics.com and click on the Workshops tab. And now for today's podcast. Welcome to High Vibes with your host, Bill G. At High Vibes, we're looking into what it means to be a fourth dimensional being in an ever-changing world. We hope that by listening to our podcast, you can feel a greater sense of peace and connection as we collectively raise our energetic vibration to the next level. And now for today's podcast. Hello and welcome to High Vibes. I'm your host, Bill G, and today's special guest is Sonia Gaudette. She is the owner of Holistic Pros in New Hampshire, and she is also the coordinator for the Mind, Body, Spirit Evolution Expo, which is going to be on October 16th in Concord, New Hampshire. And so what we're going to be talking about today is, again, just like a couple of weeks ago, we did a interview with Jem Rhodes, who's the coordinator for the Mind, Body, Soul Expo in Saratoga Springs. We got another person here who does kind of the same thing, but everyone's got their own special journey. Everyone's got their own special where they're coming from when it comes to creating a community within the holistic healing community. So, Sonia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, Sonia, let's get started with just talking about Holistic Pros. What is Holistic Pros all about?
Holistic Pros is a network of holistic, alternative, and complementary care professionals who come together and connect, collaborate, and communicate on integrative client, patient, and customer care. And then we're also publishers. So I've published HolisticNH.org, a directory style website. I have launched HolisticMaine.org, which is a founding member drive to get that website going. Plans are in the works to launch a Holistic Vermont, Holistic Massachusetts, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And then I also publish Pathways to Wellness, a holistic directory by region here in New Hampshire. Started in central New Hampshire. I've done the entire southern portion of the state and am now working on the northern part. And then event coordinator. So a lot of things going on for sure.
Was the event coordinator thing kind of a new addition to Holistic Pros, or was that always in the master plan?
That was always in the master plan. I knew I would launch an expo at some point. I didn't realize it was going to be this soon, but I'm very excited to be doing it, and it's rounding out to be an absolutely amazing event.
Oh yeah, I've the schedule for speakers and stuff just came out today, and I'm so thrilled to see that the American Society of Dowsers is going to be well represented there. So that makes me very, very happy. So let's talk about a little bit about where this came from. What made you want to do this?
So the journey, the story is quite incredible. So 15 years ago, I was working for a newspaper. I was a newspaper salesperson, and I found this little tiny book that was laying on a shelf, and it had some practitioners in it. It was just a little tiny thing, somebody had like taken a 8.5 by 11 and folded it in half and put it out there, and I was like, who who are these people? There was a Reiki practitioner, there was an herbalist, there was a massage therapist. And I was like, these are people I need to call, because I was a salesperson. So I'm really good at cold calling. So I called these people, and none of them really wanted to advertise in a newspaper. That wasn't their direct audience. But one of them said, "Hey, you want a sample of what Reiki is all about?" And I was like, "I'm open to new things. Sure, I'll give it a go." And I laid down on a Reiki table, and it changed my life. It completely, I mean, it was the step for me to be where I am today. I come from a significant trauma background. I've got a lot of stuff back there that I'm very grateful to be able to leave behind, and stepped on my healing journey again 10, 15 years ago with that on that table. And from there, I was like, oh, well, I've learned graphic design and maybe I can make a go of something like this. So I gathered with a group of women and we created what we called the New Hampshire Holistic Health Network. I published a couple of directories. Back then, it was wonderful. I had a good time doing it, but I wasn't ready to be a container for holistic practitioners. All I could do was to offer that graphic design service because I wasn't anywhere near where I needed to be on my own healing journey. So we did it. I did it for a couple of years and then I stepped away. Somebody else took it over. She was a part of it from the very beginning and did a great job for a little while. And as a practitioner who is involved in healing people, she stepped away from it because her practice became more important than networking and building a container for a community. Fast forward, I've been on a healing journey. I have a naturopathic doctor. I've been to massage, all the things that you can possibly imagine somebody taking advantage of. I kind of have. So on my healing journey, I've had many experiences with many modalities. I had a psychotherapist who was also an energy worker, and that was amazing. I stuck with her for well over 3 years and got EMDR and chakra balancing and inner child work and EFT and hypnosis and all of the things on a regular basis. So it healed me to a place where now I'm able to have a conversation around any of the trauma and feel no emotional attachment. And if I can get more people to hear that and understand it, it would be fabulous because it's an
Absolutely, yes.
incredible place to be in, to go from victim survivor to, oh, no big deal. That's my story. Now here, let's do something better and to do something different. So fast forward 2.5 years ago, I put out to the universe, hey, what can I do with my one true life? And I really prayed and I really begged and I said, please, I can't do what I'm doing. I was working for a group of radio stations. It was driving me crazy. I'm neurodiverse, so I'm all over the place, and sitting in front of a computer on a regular was not what I wanted to do in my life. So I
Mhm.
put it out to the universe, and the universe said, hey, remember that book that you did once upon a time ago? It's time to start that again. Here we are. Started with a book, and now I'm holding a container of networking and gatherings and expos and membership and all of the things.
Wow, that's a very typical journey, but a very
Mm-hmm.
special journey at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Most of us who are in this field came to it from a position of trauma
Yeah.
where we had to do a lot of personal healing, and then we move into, hey, maybe I ought to make this into my job. Wouldn't that be cool if I could turn it into a job? And that was, my journey, 5 years ago. And then while you're doing it, you're like, hey, I don't want to be alone here, because I want to go to shows, I want to meet people, and then you get to talking to people, and then you get finding out what it is that they need. And mostly what we need, those of us in the healing community, is a healing community. Some people we can talk to, people we can refer to, so people we can bounce ideas off of. So I'm curious to, when you are approaching someone like me for the first time, I've got a small practice that I'm building up and whatever, and you're like, hey, Bill, I've got this thing. Do you want to be a part of it? What are the selling points and what are the resistance points that you feel like you need to get over?
So, what typically, well, that's such an interesting question, actually. It's like, how am I going to answer that one? So, my blessing, my gift, my contribution to this community is that I'm a salesperson, I'm a communicator, I'm a marketer, I'm an advertiser, I'm a graphic designer. I decided instead of going into the healing arts to learn all of these things. I had no idea that this was what I was going to do with all of these things, but all of this skill set that I have, I'm able to offer to the holistic community. So going in and having a conversation with somebody like you is introducing what the website, the directory. Most everybody loves the idea of being listed on a directory for free. And that's what I do. And I built it specifically that way because I think it's important that the public knows what services are available, period. Whether or not you pay for a listing or not, you just, that's the meaning, the reason I'm here is to create more awareness around holistic, alternative, and complementary care. The resistance I hear is I don't want to deal with technology.
Oh
That's the
no.
biggest one. Nobody wants to deal with it. So, and that's okay. So it ends up being, hand holding, having conversations, finding out where their pain, where the pain points are, what needs to be addressed, right? And then helping to overcome those bits and pieces and those bits of resistance. It's so small, it's unbelievable. So being a salesperson, I've dealt with rejection over and over and over and over again in my career, and I'm used to it. It's good, it's fine. I won't stop until I get an absolute hard no. Otherwise you're going to keep hearing from me and you're going to keep hearing from me. You have to. That's how this life works. And until I get that hard no, I'm asking all of the questions. Well, what do you need? Why do you need it? Are you interested in gathering with other people? Do you want to learn more about who's in your area? Are you interested in advertising? No, you just want to do community involvement. Okay, then, well, finding the pieces and the parts that each practitioner needs. You're all special.
Yeah. My wife Nina and I did a show recently where we were talking about her new art venture. And because she does greeting cards and stickers, and she's doing a coloring book, and so she's putting all this stuff together. And this is her new career. She was an acupuncturist, and now she's doing this as her new career. And one of the things we discovered that when she started going out on sales calls, and we're basically cold calling these places. She's on Fair, but we
Mm-hmm.
cold call places that look like places that would carry her cards, mostly gift shops and that kind of side of thing. And so she gives them the one sheet, and then if she gets to talking to the owner, one of the things she does is, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
She asks them the question, what do you need? Because they look at their cards and she's like, wow, these cards are beautiful. We can definitely use these greeting cards. That's great. And then she gets to talking to them and she's like, oh, what else do you need that you're not getting right now? Since COVID, there's been supply chain issues with
Mm-hmm.
China and these big publishers. So when these small businesses are putting out the call for or looking to buy stock for their Christmas line or whatever, they're not getting it until after Christmas. At least that was the story 2 years ago, and that was the story. What they're doing is they're trying to reach out now more towards local artists, which was a great ask in there. It's like, what do you need? And then this one bookstore said, we need stickers. We cannot get enough stickers. People love to buy them. And so Nina's putting together a sticker collection. We were at another one that said, and we saw a display with a coloring book on it, featuring the sugaring process for maple syrup. And she asked them, what do you need? We need a second coloring book because we only
Mm-hmm.
have one. And so she's producing a coloring book now. And so it's all about the ask. What
Mm-hmm.
is the need? How do I help you fill that need? And I'm assuming just from what you said, that's exactly what you're doing. So when you've asked people, what do you need? What has been generally the response?
I think the big, it's a beautiful, it's the reason why I do what I do. So the biggest need, because people are serving one to one, healers mostly are, one person to one person, and you're healing. They want to know who's in their area. They want to know how to build. They want to see community collaboration happening. And they don't have the time to do it. They don't have the bandwidth to make it happen. So that's where I come in and I say, okay, well, let's do it. Do you want to host a networking event here? Do you just want to attend a networking event? We can make one happen very easily. That's the biggest. Getting their information out. So you have the need of community and collaborating and coming together as practitioners with each other, and then their need to, if they don't have their book of business filled, their need to get their information out in who they are, in who they serve. So those are the two pieces.
So let's talk about a success story. So can you tell me a success story of somebody who you brought on to your network and they saw some results
Yes.
that they would not have been able to accomplish on their own?
Yep. So I host online Zoom networking events where I bring in groups of practitioners and we have a conversation, and they share their ideal client or their, what they do as a business. And I had a coach who offers assistance to people with autoimmune disease. So she coaches people who are autoimmune deficient, who have those issues. And then I had a doctor who has gone over into the holistic realm, who also joined in the conversation, that particular Zoom meeting. And her primary scope of practice is the autoimmune disorders. So it was, and this is happening over and over and over and over and over again. It's just absolutely incredible. So I put the two of them, we do breakout rooms one to one. So I put the two of them in a breakout room together, and they came back and they were still chatting when they came back into the group session. So they have continued that relationship and that collaborative effort away from anything that I'm doing, and I have built a connection that is now in place. Yeah, I think that's the best thing about what I'm doing. And then people are always telling me, "Yeah, I placed an ad in your publication, and I got a call." I had when I put out Southern New Hampshire, I put them out and met with one of the practitioners who wanted a stack of copies, right? And I walked up to her and I say, "Here you go, here's your stack." She goes, "When did you start distributing those?" And I was like, "Started yesterday." She goes, "I just got a call." Like, I've already gotten a call out of that
Oh, that's
book.
fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, talk about the power of print and success. It was yeah. And
Yeah.
these are the things that are happening on a regular basis.
And I actually just received a email yesterday because I participate in the Natural Living Expo, and the main publication around that was the Spirit of Change magazine. And I just got an
Yes.
email yesterday saying that they're shutting down Spirit of Change, and they've been in publication since 2000. So
When I read that, I was like, oh boy. Okay, don't. Because my brain is very, it's open to new ideas, and
uh-huh.
they come in, they fly in on a regular basis. So because I come from a print background, I worked in newspaper for 10 years. It's like, oh, wait, what? What's going on? Oh, that's an opportunity. Do I want to take? So Spirit of Change, I've been reading faithfully every issue. I love it. I read it all the time. And coming from that print background, it's like, oh no, it's gone. What are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna read? I mean, we can, there's wisdom, and that's a beautiful publication as well. But the grandness of Spirit of Change it's sad that it's
Yeah,
leaving.
because that's a big publication. That's like what, 60 pages long?
Is it?
And
easily
Yeah.
60 pages.
And the just the amount of advertise, it was such a wonderful place for holistic practitioners to
Hmm.
advertise. And now that avenue is now gone. And it makes, and the email said something that, they weren't bringing in enough ad revenue to justify the printing costs. And so I guess I understand that, but it
Hmm.
does create a vacuum.
It does, a big one.
And it's a vacuum for someone like you to come in.
Hmm. Or so there, and then there's this thought, and I don't know if I want to talk. Well, yeah. I talked to Jem yesterday
Oh
from
yeah.
from New York, and she was a delight. And the best part of the best thing she said, she's like, so yeah, I can share everything that I'm doing and what drives me and what makes it happen because you're not competition. You're all the way in New Hampshire. I can
Right.
tell you every. I was like, oh, God bless, God bless. I can't wait to meet you next on the 3rd. But it was a
Awesome.
wonderful conversation, and she was talking about Natural Awakenings, a
Mhm.
publication, and I've seen it down in Florida. It's a publication that will print for the area if you can get the advertisers into it. So I'm
Gotcha.
digging. I'm like, okay, I gotta look into that. I need more information before making any kind of judgment call or pivoting in any way, shape, or form.
And this has been something that, I live in Vermont, and
Hmm.
so I'm mostly in the Rutland area, and it's unfortunate that it's I don't want to say it's a wasteland. It is a because there's so many really, really good practitioners here,
Hmm.
but what is missing is that networking element, because everybody here, it seems, operates in their own little
That's how it
space.
works. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
you're
doing their
all in a bubble.
one-on-one. They
Hmm.
don't really talk to anybody else. And if they do talk to somebody else, there is this perceived competition, or there's this perceived the caginess that comes along with
Hmm.
that. And
Hmm.
I found that among acupuncturists. I find this among chiropractors. And it's like, you realize, everybody, that you are not in even if you guys are right next door to each other, there is
Hmm.
no competition
Nope.
happening here,
Nope.
because energetic healers, whether you're a chiropractor or a Reiki person or whatever, it is a personal connection that you have with a client. A
Hmm.
client is not shopping for the best deal. They are
Right.
not shopping for the best acupuncturist in town. They're looking for their acupuncturist. They're
Hmm.
looking for their Reiki practitioner. They want to find the person that is going to be the best fit for them. And it doesn't matter if they're the most expensive or the least expensive in town.
Exactly.
They're looking for the person that they can make a personal connection with. And
Hmm.
when practitioners behave as though they're car dealerships in competition with each other, that only hurts the overall industry, because we're in the business of awakening, not going back to that competition paradigm, that zero sum game paradigm, because that is not what we do. And I ran this into this too when I was practicing spiritual response therapy too, because some spiritual response therapy people the same way. They feel like, no, I'm not going to tell you how I do my dowsing because you may steal it. Like,
Right.
and my attitude is, steal away, because you live in Colorado.
Right.
I live in Vermont. We are dealing with different markets. And
Hmm.
believe me, there is more than enough clients to go around for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the joy of my journey is 10 years ago I found a lot of competition among practitioners. I mean, it was profound, the competition, that competition mindset that you're talking about. Over the past decade, I have slowly, and it's a slow process, more and more practitioners are coming into that collective space, that collaborative space where they're opening up to that possibility. We still have There's still a few people who are, in that competitive mindset, and I think that's an ego driven stepping stone that the healer, whoever that healer is, needs to work on and overcome for themselves. because the way to success is collaboration, not competition. Competition doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It won't work. And especially in the healing arts, it can't work.
Right.
You're completely shutting off the creative process when you go into competition. And all of the healing arts are a creative process.
In my book, Conscious Conduit, I devote a whole chapter to building a healing community because
Mhm.
number one, you can't do it all yourself. You can't
Right.
be a acupuncturist and a Reiki practitioner and a
Period.
chiropractor all at once, because and what your client needs is what is the most important thing. And if
Mhm.
you do not have, you personally don't have the skills to help them, that's
Right.
why we have networks. I know a guy who's going to be great for you.
Mhm.
I know somebody who really is going to be able to connect to your trauma or whatever this specific thing that you're dealing with better than I can.
Mhm.
In fact, I just did that yesterday with a client. The Akashic dowsing revealed some really heavy stuff, really heavy depression or trauma in their past. And I said to them, we may be getting into territory where you need to see a licensed psychologist. And that's not me. And
Right.
I've got the perfect person for you because I know how they think, I know how they work, and this is the person I think you should be seeing. They're still seeing me, which is great,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
again, it's like it's starting that seed. It's saying that that's why we have networks.
There's so many different reasons for doing what I'm doing. It's the building of that network. It is building awareness around the practices and around the different modalities and sharing them in a easy to understand way with the general public. So the gloriousness of where I come from, coming from trauma background, coming from a poverty mentality, coming from a family history of abuse and alcohol and drugs. It's all back there. I have found that I am able to communicate very easily and effectively to all walks of life. So I can have a easy conversation with somebody who's on their recovery path with no problem because I get them and I know where they're coming from. And I can also have a conversation with the CEO of a multinational company with no problem.
Mhm.
So being able to communicate effectively, I'm able to share the different modalities in easy to understand ways and provide a resource for people to access you guys.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evolution Expo.
Oh,
So
I'm so excited.
yes, it's going to be really, really fun.
So
So
excited.
I'm now this is the first one you've put together, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the first expo you put together, and it's already shaping up to be a very, very cool one. There's a lot of nice positive buzz going on, at least among the vendor community,
Yes.
and I think that's going to translate into a good turnout as well.
Hope so.
So how did it how did the ball get rolling on that one?
So I knew all along that I was going to do an expo, especially. So I think I have 1,900 practitioners in my data in my database, and then 1,600 of those have translated into connections and communications. Right. So I'm looking at this going. There's got to be an expo. We got to do an expo. That's got to happen. Like the conferences, like in my head I'm like, oh, we could do a convention and we can do a conference and we can do CPEs and we can do this and we can do that, and all of these events are rolling through and I knew it was going to happen. But I went down to Concord to the Concord Hotel. Nice little tiny venue. You can fit probably 20 practitioners in there, maybe a couple of speakers. And I was like, okay, this is a good start. This would be a good start. And I had a friend with me, and she's like, well, do you want to check out the Grapponi Center? And I was like, that seems big. That seems like a big chunk to swallow. But yeah, whatever. Let's go check it out. So I went and walked through the Grapponi Center, and it is one of the premier locations to host a conference. It's just an expo of any sort. It's beautiful. It's well put together. It's well laid out. It's a really nice place. So I walk through and I'm like, yeah, I guess I could see it here. And I mean, immediately, the vision is there. It's like, oh yeah, we'll have them lined here. We'll have them lined there. Yeah, I can see the speakers already. Like it's all in my, like the visualization is already in place. So I see the whole expo all laid out, like right then and there as I walk in. I talk to the sales manager and I say, okay, well, if you have any availability in October, I wanted October or November. Let me know. And she came back to me and she said, "Well, we don't have any Saturdays left because that was my first. That was my first choice." She's like, "But we have two Sundays. One's in September and one's in October. Do you want to do a Sunday?" And I was like, "Do I want to do a Sunday?" I dowsed. Yes, I want to do a Sunday. Sunday, October 16th. It's like, okay, let's do this. So I sent out, it's all coming together so nicely. I sat down on the computer and I thought I was going to call it the Naturally Living Expo for New Hampshire or something like that. And I sat down, and I'm a graphic designer. So I sat down and I started, making it. And I'm like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Evolution. Type the word evolution and went, oh, okay, that's it. That's the name. That's it. There's no doubt. Okay, let's do it. Empowering people to make healthy choices, to find healthy ways to wellness. So that's what it's all about. Yeah, it was crazy. And I'm still going, what have I, okay, we got this. And I had 18 or 19 speaker applications to go through. And then I
Wow.
had to choose. Do you know how hard it was to choose?
Oh, I can imagine. Out of the 19, how many did you had to narrow it down to?
I got it down to 14.
14. Okay. So you only had to say no to five people.
No, but still, I didn't want to say no to anybody. Everybody had an incredible presentation, but I wanted everybody.
Great.
That's
So
great.
that's going to be on October 16th at the Grapponi Center in downtown Concord,
Yeah.
right off of 93. Okay. I was actually in Concord not last Sunday, but the Sunday before at an event at the Holiday Inn there.
Oh, that's right.
And that, it was a decent event,
Mhm.
but not a lot of people came through. And because it's a fairly small venue.
Mhm.
We only had about maybe 20 vendors there. They only had space for about 20 vendors in there. So, I went in there. I was like, okay, this is all right. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a bust, but it was certainly wasn't an event that was really strongly well attended. So I was thinking to myself, okay, well, what's going to make Grapponi Center different from the Holiday Inn?
Well, I have the flyers and I know where to put them.
Mhm.
I have 1,600 practitioners to talk to help promote the event, right?
Mhm.
So there will be, hey, you're gonna, right? Doing things like this will happen often. I'm on the radio. I just did a 60-second spot for the group of radio stations that covers the Lakes region in central New Hampshire. So we'll be
Mhm.
on Mix 94.1, the country station WSCY 106.9, the Planet 100.1, and an oldie station 92.9. And then I'm hoping to find some sponsors to do yard signs so that we can pepper the state with the yard signs at all of the on ramps along 93.
Excellent.
Yep.
That's
And then of course, the typical social media advertising, we'll do some of that. But the most important piece is to get that collaborative community engaging in the conversation and sharing and keeping it fresh in people's minds. And over the next month and a half, can't believe it's only a month and a half away, I'll be screaming it from the rooftops.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Me too.
So Sonia, it was wonderful having you as our guest on the show. And so if people are interested in joining up with your network, how they go about doing that?
They can go online to HolisticPros.net and connect with me there. They can send me an email at sonia@holisticpros.net. They can find me on Facebook. I'm all over social media. I'm on LinkedIn. And they can call me too. Oh, and then holisticnh.org. Don't forget to talk about that one. The online directory of all of the holistic practitioners in the state of New Hampshire.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for listening. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening. For more information about Bill and Nina G, please go to www.vitalbioenergetics.com. See you next time.